Good evening. This evening I hope to show you the method of brayering backgrounds, which I've done on cards before. This card here is one of the ones which is on my blog, and this background was originally done by Sandy Hulsart, but unfortunately her video on doing this particular background is no longer available, so I was just going to quickly show you, well hopefully show you how to do it. Now you take your brayer. When you're using your brayer, the key is gently and firm, even strokes. So make sure it is gentle at the same time as firm, if you can get me. I haven't got very strong hands, so therefore I don't have any trouble with the gentle, firm. But some people, I think, have got a lot more oomph. You just evenly load up your brayer, and you have to first of all lay down a background colour. This is the way Sandy did this scene, and the colours that she used were Adirondack Lights, Peach Bellini, which is the colour I'm using now, and then she also laid down the two other colours of Bright's Mountain Rose and Bright's Purple Twilights, also by I can never say that, Adirondack, how easy I say it. And she used a rust colour, but I didn't bother buying it because I had a spot, so I used the spot because you only need a tiny bit of colour. So you just build up a layer of background, and you'll see on the gloss cardstock gradually, you can't see it very well, but it is starting to bead there, hopefully. Now I allow this, once I've got enough layers on this, I allow it to heat, either heat set it or I allow it to dry, but I've actually got one that I've done before. So I'm now going to show you, the next thing is you choose where you're going to put your post-it note. I've just used regular post-it notes with a punch, and I'm just going to put my punch hole here, and then I'm going to re-brayer with the same Peach Bellini Adirondack light over it again, just to give a further definition to the colour, and you just give it all over brayer, gently but lightly doing it. I know it looks hard, but honestly it doesn't matter if you go that way or if you go that way, as long as you don't do it both at the same time. I sometimes come back with my colours and I sometimes go forward with my colours. And if you use the really good quality glossy cardstock, you won't have any problems at all. And then you just begin to build up the colours. I might add a bit more of this later, so I'll leave it here. The next colour to lay down is the Mountain Rose in the Adirondack, and these are Bright's colours. This is a light, these are Bright's, and these ones don't need as much. Now you just layer it up. I'll just move this over in case you can't see it where I had it. You just layer up at an edge of it, right? And when you layer this down, you will turn the cardstock around so that that part is always in the middle, so you don't have this hard edge. And you just start to layer that down, and then I'll turn it around, and you can see the beading of the ink. It's rather often the case, and this just sort of smooths it all off. I always brayer with junk mail underneath, because it seems to, well, first of all, it saves your mat, and it seems to just help with the evenness of the distribution. And I just keep turning it around now until I'm happy with that colour. Now this is the bottom of my picture. In this one here you'll see it. I actually on this one forgot to put the last layer. I've just put the Mountain Rose. You will see the colours fade quite a bit after you've brayed them, so at the end of this it won't look the same as this, it'll be deeper, and then they fade off. And now I'm just going to add a little. Now this is little because it is strong, so you just brayer a teensy wincy bit, and as this is going to be the top, I'm just going to turn it around so that this edge bit here is on the inside, and you just gradually work your way down onto the colour. And if anything goes wrong at this stage, you've laid on a bit too much, you can always go over the top with the Peach Bellini or the Mountain Rose again. And I think I'll just get a little bit more purple. And just do it this way, I think. Tinsy-wincy bit more. You can see I'm not terribly worried about it being even, because it just seems to even itself out when it goes on. And then I might just do a bit more Mountain Rose over the top. And the same down the bottom because it's faded quite a bit. Whoops, I hope that doesn't. Well, this is to show you that you can get rid of boo-boos, okay? I didn't do that very well. So there's going to be a bit more depth of colour in this than there normally would be, but as you can see, you do actually get rid of it all in the end. And as you will see, I did go wibble wobble, but it doesn't matter. Honestly, they have all these do's and don'ts on the videos I've watched, but if you're patient, you really can get rid of it all. I'm just going to add a bit more purple there. Tricky, I've just smudged that a bit. Okay, this is not going to be a perfect one. I put a fingerprint there, but anyway, hopefully we'll get rid of it. Now, I'm just going to put the rust down the bottom. That goes on there, that goes on there. When I first learned how to use the Brayer, the only inks I had were these little post-it notes, and I used to line up 3 of them in a row with Blu-tac, and that was the way I used to. Now I sort of lift the top off at this stage just to get this rust colour on it. I just brayer with the bottom part of the brayer. Probably wouldn't matter that much, but I tend to do that at the beginning. Later on you can just go through. Now that's the beginning, and when you stamp them, you really do need to wait till it's dried, and unfortunately I haven't got a dried background here, but you just peel off the post-it note very carefully. Hopefully I don't mess this up. And I usually just go a few times over the top to soften the effect of the moon. There we go, so there's your brayered background. And there's actually some brilliant Stampscapes on laying down the stamps videos that Kevin has done, so I'll give you a link to those too. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope it turned out okay.